So, as the Turk makes his final rounds, cut down day, the Baltimore Ravens are put in a precarious situation. What is the team going to do with this 53-man roster? What players are they going to keep? Who are they going to let go? I just a couple of minutes ago just saw that the Ravens released Jalen Armour Davis. Now that came as a surprise to many people, including myself. I thought that he played extremely well. He did get injured early in camp, but he came back. And so this was a surprise. Now we just have to wait for the rest of the day for more cuts to be made. Also, while I was perusing the internet, I saw an article about Lamar Jackson. So it kind of piqued my interest and I kind of read through it. And the article was entitled, "Does Lamar Jackson have the Baltimore Ravens in a stranglehold? Does he have the team by the short and curlies?" And before I even read the article, quite frankly, I thought, yes, he does. This time around, it's not like 2023. When it comes to negotiations, Lamar has the upper hand. He holds all the leverage. He has to do nothing. He's going to get his money regardless. But the team will have to incur a $74.5 million hit for 2026 and 2027. Even now, they're seeing the ramifications of some of these contracts, not just Lamar's, where they may not be able to sign certain free agents. And we've talked all offseason long about there possibly being a handshake deal done with Jadeveon Clowney, but the Ravens do have to come up with the money. And as I read along, this article stated that the Baltimore Ravens have around $14.6 million to play with the salary cap. But if you take into account the practice squad elevations weekly, the rainy day fund, when it all boils down to it, the Ravens have roughly estimated around about $1.5 million to play with. Not a lot of money. I'm sure there may be more, but the Ravens are going to have to restructure somebody's contract if they want to go out here and get some of these roster cuts that we're going to find out about later today. So I'm reading, I'm like, okay, cool. It's nothing too much about this article, but then it went on to say, Lamar Jackson, what is your priority? What is your concern in essence? I'm paraphrasing. They wanted to know, do you need to be even more financially secure, or is it more about winning a Super Bowl? And that's when my eyes kind of perked up and I sat up in my chair and I'm like, is it about the money or is it about the Super Bowl? This is an odd question to ask, being what I read next. And of course, it's about both. It's about being financially stable. It's about getting your money, and it's about being successful at your job, winning championships, being the best of the best. But then the comparisons came in. Then they started comparing the situation to Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady. But in actuality, they are not. Yes, it is well documented. Patrick Mahomes does what's best for the team. Tom Brady has taken pay cuts, even though speculation he got paid under the table, some other deals, doesn't matter. He took pay cuts to look like the good guy, to put a team around him to continue making runs at Super Bowls. And I'm all for this. If you're willing to relinquish money to win a championship, so be it. But sometimes you have to look at, if I give up this money, what am I giving up this money for? Joe Burrow earlier in this offseason said, listen, I'll take a pay cut. If we can re-sign T. Higgins and Jamar Chase, I'll give up some money. I want my guys here. I know that I need those guys to be extremely successful. I can be successful without them, but I can be even more successful with them. I'm not just giving up this money for you to do nothing with. So I understand kind of where they're coming from. But like I said, these things are not the same. Patrick Mahomes, yes, he signed a team-friendly deal, but it was a long-term deal. It was 10 years. So they were able to finagle some things. But also what they did was they used the money wisely. When they lost that first Super Bowl to Tampa Bay because their offensive line was decimated, and that was mostly the issue, was a lot of guys were hurt, but they said, you know what, we're not going to go through this again. And they took that money and went out and fortified that offensive line for them. When they needed wide receiver help, they went out and got wide receivers. When their running backs got hurt, they went out and got the running backs. They did everything possible to build this offense around Patrick Mahomes, even though he was the game's best quarterback. And then we look at Tom Brady. So you say to yourself, yeah, he took the deals. He looks like the good guy, but look what they did with the money. Let's talk about the guys that they brought in to help Tom Brady be successful. And me personally, as a competitor, as somebody that wants to win, if I'm giving up some money and you're telling me that you're going to bring in a Terry Glenn, a Corey Dillon, a Randy Moss, a Wes Welker, a Brandon LaFell, a LeGarrette Blount, a Brandon Cooks, and even an Antonio Brown. You know what? Scratch that, Antonio Brown. But if I'm going to give you back some money, this is what I expect in return. And this is where things differ with Lamar Jackson. When it came to Patrick Mahomes, when it came to Tom Brady, when it came to Josh Allen, when it came to those three quarterbacks, which team used the franchise tag? I'll wait. Which one of those teams used economic gymnastics to finagle around a way to pay their quarterback? Hold on, once again, I'll wait. And I know there are going to be a lot of you out there saying, yeah, Lamar should take less money to build a better team. But I say, like Ricky Water said back in the day, for what? For who? And I think for a lot of us Ravens fans, it's not about him taking less money to make the team better. It's about taking less money and what is the team going to do with this money. A lot of people tend to forget that Lamar Jackson, while on his rookie deal, because they love to use that excuse after he signed that big contract of, oh, we ain't got the money to do this and do that. When he was on his rookie deal, they essentially did nothing for him offensively. And then they wanted to use this contract as a scapegoat. Eric DeCosta said, we paying a quarterback. We got these big contracts. We can't do what we'd like to do. We had an opportunity when Lamar was on his rookie deal to do that. You still had that opportunity when you picked up his 5th-year option. But now we don't have the money to do it. And I understand if Lamar wants to give that money back, cool. Kudos to you. But I'm not giving money back to sign a Hammy Watkins, a Deshaun Jackson, a Dez Bryant, an Andy Isabella, bringing in offensive linemen like Juwan James and Alejandro Villanueva. So this is where I have an issue with that, where you talk about, well, Tom Brady did this, he should do the same. Not if we're going to go in here and he's going to give his money back and they're going to try to go out and get even more defensive players. If he gives some money back to sign somebody and they don't try to upgrade this offensive line, what are we doing this for? So please don't compare Lamar Jackson and his contract to what he should do to what Tom Brady did. Even down to the slightest with Tom Brady, with Patrick Mahomes, they went out and got offensive linemen. They brought in offensive coordinators that accentuated their quarterbacks and made them better. The Baltimore Ravens have not done that. We played around with Greg Roman for a while. We're still experimenting on the offensive line. So am I giving you money back for what? To go get another linebacker, a defensive lineman, another safety or a corner? Why would I give this money back? And I understand where this article was trying to go with all this, but I'm not understanding how you're comparing the two when those teams use that extra cap space to shore up weaknesses. And even that publication admits the offensive line isn't as strong as it needs to be. So why on God's green earth would Lamar sign a cap-friendly deal? They wanted to know, is this too much to ask for? It's not too much to ask for, but was it too much to ask for you to sign your franchise quarterback, the only reason that you're winning in this league, to give him a seamless contract extension? Was that too much to ask for? The Ravens made it difficult. Then we come up with a collusion case. They say the Ravens may not have been a part of it, but we really don't know. So was that too much to ask for? The guy that when he starts, you go to the playoffs. Your team is dominant. You're featured on primetime games, but you want to haggle, you want to finagle a contract situation with Lamar. It's fine sometimes in the eyes of people when the teams do it, when these billionaires play games and do what they need to do. It's like, oh, well, the team has constraints, have restrictions. They can't do this. The teams can do whatever the hell they want to do. The owners run this league. Roger Goodell is the face, but the team owners run the league. Goodell can't do anything without the team owner's approval. So if they want to pay these guys, they can pay these guys. If they want to expand the salary cap, they can expand the salary cap to whatever they want to. If they want to get rid of the cap, they can do it. So you can miss me with the team, this ain't Madden. It can be whatever the league owners want it to be. They just don't want to pay these players. Then why should he do something for a team that, in my opinion, shitted on him during contract negotiations? And the article said, oh, this team has embraced Lamar like no other. Really? Really? Is that right? Because I remember when the team embraced Ray Lewis, what did they do? They said, you know what? We need Ray to run free. We need Ray to be able to do his thing. So what are we going to do? We're going to go out here and we're going to get these two massive defensive tackles. We're going to get Tony Siragusa and we're going to get Sam Adams to eat up blockers to let him do his thing. And they got that, and we won a Super Bowl. Now, when it comes to Lamar and getting him an offensive line that's actually strong and wide receivers, no shade against the ones that we have, but a dominant wide receiver that he could grow with, did they do that? No, they didn't. We went out here and got a corner and two safeties and a guy that we slotted for middle linebacker that's no longer on the team. So you can miss me with the team embraced him like no other. I mean, just because they publicly say, oh, we love Lamar, we're going to make him the highest paid player in the NFL come this next extension. Well, no shit, Sherlock. What else do you have no choice. You have no leverage in this matter. You made Joe Flacco the highest paid in the league. Then you gave him an extension and made him the highest paid in the league a second time. You don't think that you would have to do the same for Lamar? It's not like you're saying anything that means a hill of fucking beans. You're saying stuff that we already know. Lamar's not going to accept an extension that's less than not being the highest. But the one thing you better hope and pray is he doesn't demand a fully guaranteed contract. Now, Lamar Jackson can set this league ablaze and he can start the trend all over again. If Lamar asks for a fully guaranteed contract, what are they going to do? Are they going to continue to absorb this $74.5 million hit over the next 2 years? Or are they going to acquiesce and give Lamar what he wants? This is why you don't treat people a certain way, because you never know when it comes around and you're going to need them. You treated him a certain way, now he can turn around and do the same thing to you. But Lamar just isn't that guy. Lamar's about this team, he's about this city, he's about winning. The question is he going to find a middle ground?